journey, most of you know I started secular, and I never would imagine that my first album would be for God, that it would be gospel. I never imagined it. Like, I never wanted to even rap for God, you know what I mean? But so once we dropped Journey, and prior to that same year I dropped my first album after maybe 15 years of rapping. I was ordained as a minister. I think that was April, and then Journey dropped in June. And right after that Journey dropped, like all hell broke loose in 2015. Like, and I guess I had to go through it. Now I know I had to go through it. I felt like I had a problem. At the time I told myself I had a problem with God, but it was me. You know what I mean? So long story short, after Journey, I went through it for maybe a year. Just disappeared off the scene, didn't care. You know what I mean? I always say now that I'm thankful to be back in God's presence. 2016, I just made up my mind to fight back. And I had to learn that it was about choosing God. Like, we'll always go through something, but it was about learning how to choose God, because we will never be perfect. I gotta go back. Like, there was a woman of God by the name of Loveland, Sister Loveland. And I remember my first time visiting Lighthouse. I wasn't truly a believer then. And her first time meeting me, she opened her mouth and she was like, "God's gonna use you." And I chuckled at her. And she like cut that out like, "No, I'm serious." And she's like, "God's gonna use you. You're gonna do great things." And I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, this lady thinks I go to church. Like, I'm only here to appease my mom because she's begging me to come to church. And I finally came. And she wasn't with it. She just kept telling me God's gonna use you. And I'm like, okay, you know what I mean? But I went on about my life or whatever. Fast forward. Throughout my walk, she would just constantly remind me or give me whatever God showed to her. And I always knew it was from God, because then I would ask her, like, I can't remember what you said. Tell me what you said again. And she's like, I don't have anything to tell you. That was nothing but the Lord. Like, I knew it wasn't scripted. Like, I know it was God speaking through her. Unfortunately, she was stricken ill with cancer. And one of the messages she gave me before she passed away was, God's going to send a person. He's going to basically telling me God's going to connect me with this person. And I believed her, but I just never knew who it was. She never pointed to who. She just kind of told me it's going to happen, and this is going to be your season. And it's not going to be what you thought it was. It's not going to move the way you thought it would be. But just go with it. And that was one of the last words she gave to me before she passed away. And through the frustration of losing her and just my walk and just life period, you know, I guess I gave up and began to forget what she was talking about. Also, God would show me, I haven't really shared this before, God would show me, he would show me Eshawn Burgundy. And he would continuously show me Eshawn Burgundy, but nothing never happened. Like, you know, we met once and nothing came. I was like, well, maybe he wasn't it. You know what I mean? And I ran into a couple other people and nothing came of it. So after a while, I began to grow frustrated again. And like I said, in 2017, we were back to working. So now my rebuttal to God telling me he would show me Eshawn. So I'm taking what Sister Loveland said. Someone's gonna be it for you or come to stand alongside you to help you. And God would show me Eshawn Burgundy. But when nothing happened, I would grow frustrated. So I guess you could say I made up a rebuttal to God. And the line was, whenever he showed me Eshawn, he would show, or infantry or whatever. When he didn't show me infantry, excuse me. When he would show me Eshawn, my line was, let's see how far we get with no cosign. Just King Jesus, obedience, and dope lines. And that just became my motto for 2017. Like, just keep working. You focus, you back on your grind, you back right in your walk. I'm working, we're doing videos, 90 going north, we built in GUTTA. And God would continue to show Eshawn. Nothing came of it. So my line was, let's see how far we go with no cosign. Just King Jesus, obedience, and dope lines. God would go Eshawn. Let's see how far we go with no cosign. Just King Jesus, obedience. God would go Eshawn. And as he kept showing me, as I'm giving him this rebuttal, in between there, even when God wasn't speaking his name, other people would tag me in his post, or tag him in my post rather, or just random people that knew me, like, yo, you ever hear Eshawn? You should give me Eshawn in infantry. Like, you belong. I think you fit him very well. And at the time, I would just tell whoever said it, like, oh, well, just pray for me. You know what I mean? Pray that it happens if that's the case. But when God said it, it was, let's see how far we go with no cosign. Just King Jesus, obedience, and dope lines. So, 2017, Jeremiah and myself, we just decided to, regroup. We started working our butts off. I tried to take my mind off it. I was just built in GUTTA, GUTTA, God's undeniable truth told always. After that, it was just GUTTA films. Like, we just started shooting videos, 90 going north, back to back, all 2017. We just worked our butts off. It was my cousin's vision. I'm like, nah, like maybe God was just showing me Eshawn to say, I knew he was a good guy. Maybe you're supposed to just go in that direction, or someone I could look up to, but continue building GUTTA. You and your cousin, that's it. And the video I did with Rob Waters, it's called Suit Up, featuring my man Melly Mel. Right after that video did, really great, had a great buzz behind it. Right after we dropped that video, I believe it was February 2017, Jeremiah had reached out to me and was like, yo, I appreciate the work you do. I just seen the Suit Up. I love what you did. He heard Journey. He was telling me this like he listened to my album. And it's one thing that blew my mind was, when I first began my walk, Jeremiah Blygen's album was one of my first albums that I made that transition into from secular to gospel. His album was and Eshawn was a part of that, but at the time this is maybe 08, 09. I heard Eshawn on that album, but it was Jeremiah. Like, he was the one. It was him, R. Swift, and Ambassador was like the first 3 albums that I really remember from the beginning of my walk. And Eshawn was a part of Jeremiah's album, but I didn't have that connection with him yet. But when Jeremiah came, it was like, man, I appreciate what you put in for the kingdom. But like, it blew my mind, and I messaged him back, and I'm like, wow, like, praise God. And I told him, like, I never thought I would be able to tell you, like, your album helped me in the beginning of my walk. I never thought I would be able to share that with him, and it was crazy that he was messaging me. And from there, we kind of built, we would just talk here and there, you know what I mean? And 2018, beginning of a year later, after he hit me about the Suit Up video, we were just chatting, and he said, we're expanding. And we were wondering, would you be willing to sit down to have a talk about joining infantry? And there it was. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a love of saying there's somebody coming to stand alongside you. Just don't throw in the towel yet. This should pass away. And my frustration, and then God showing me Eshawn, and other people saying, yo, you need to get with infantry. Yo, you need to get with Eshawn. And I'm like, it's not coming. Let's see how far we get with no cosign. Just King Jesus, obedience, and dope lines. And God set it up. 2018. It was like right before our yearly fast that we take every year, beginning of the year. And he he asked me. And I remember running to my wife, like, I showed it to her. And she's like, who's that? I'm like, Jeremiah Elijah, Eshawn's right hand. He asked me to join infantry. And she went crazy. I'll never forget, like, because God had been showing us both this, you know what I mean? And it was just, it was like finally there. And even then I was like, nah, it ain't, whatever, it ain't about to happen. It's not, I don't know. He just talking or he just saying that. Because I kept asking him for features and I felt like he was trying to beat around the bush and say no. So it was like, oh, you want to join us? I'm like, he ain't gonna get back to me. Like, whatever. You know what I mean? And we kept texting back and forth and he was like, all right, well, I'm gonna set up a call for me, you, and Eshawn to talk. I'm like, I'm still like, whatever. And then it was the last week of our fast. I believe our fast was 3 weeks. It was the week, it was our second week going into our third week. During my fast, and I had a video chat with them, and they're both like on the computer screen. I'm looking Eshawn dead in his face. I mean, I'm not in person, but I'm looking him dead in his face, and every time God said or showed me his face was right in front of me in the middle of a fast. There was no denying it now. It was finally so. So, you know, after praying and of course finishing the fast and talking back and forth in godly counsel, finally went through with it. Officially part of infantry. The craziest thing out of all of that, out of all of those times I was like, all we need is Jesus' obedience and no lines, no cosigns. I went out to meet Sean. Berg had invited me to Philly, and I went to go meet him in Philly. And it was him and Jay Johnson actually who shared the stage together. And as he brought me out, he said, I want to introduce to y'all my comrade, Church B, who was now the newest member of the infantry. All of that doubt, all of those times I'm just yelling to God like, stop showing me, it's not coming, I don't want to see it. And here I'm on stage with the very man God has been showing me. When God speaks, he creates. We can't allow fear or overthinking or even mistakes that we made to be louder than the voice of God. The mistakes I made after Journey made me feel like God was through with me. Like I didn't stand a chance. So, whenever God's showing you something, believe that he's showing you where you are headed. It isn't something that, I think it's just something I'm imagining. God is showing you what he has done. He doesn't finish anything. He doesn't start anything but I already know the ending of it. So, believe what God is showing you. Take it from my story. I appreciate y'all who've been rocking with me. Still got a lot more work to do. Church B.